Hey everyone, what's going on? Phelan here, coming at you with another first impressions video. This is sort of a test run for my new computer. Finally got all the parts for it, got it built, it's been working great so far. Um, Still in the midst of re-recording all of my Mario 3 footage after all of that kind of got destroyed. But coming at you with a smaller video. Good timing. The Kirby Air Riders global test drive is going on this weekend, so decided to hop on and get a few games in just to kind of see how it works. I'm pretty excited for this game. I played the absolute crap out of Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, so I was pretty excited to see that it was getting a sequel. So. Unlike the first impressions video I did for Mina the Hollower, we're going to be doing a little bit of a different approach this time. For that video, I kind of just made some notes and talked into the microphone and just put the gameplay as a backdrop. I'm actually watching the footage I recorded as I kind of ramble on here because there are some things I want to comment on as they happen. So we're going to jump in, we're going to do a couple of air ride races, one on every map, and then 3 run-throughs of City Trial. And we'll just talk about it and how it goes. So, if you've never played Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, it's a racing game. Air Ride is the main racing mode. That's what we're doing right now. And for the global test drive, I wasn't aware of this, but apparently, you know, this portion is offline only. You can only play against the computers, which is weird. It seems a little weird to me, but, you know, either way. But yeah. It's a racing game. It's got really simple but surprisingly deep controls. You know, the vehicles will move on their own, but you can kind of start pushing the vehicle against the ground like this here. And doing that long enough gives you a boost. So it's all about steering the vehicle, and when you get to these sharp turns, charging up that boost and then launching through the turn. It's pretty simple, all things considered. A little strange at first. You know, it's something where it's like, at first it maybe doesn't seem super intuitive, but you get like one lap into a race, and you're like, okay, I get this. So anyway, yeah, I decided to play as Kirby on the Warp Star, because I'm a boring person, and on the GameCube, that was always a character and vehicle combo I always played, because, again, I'm a boring person. So kind of went with the same approach here. I've been mostly ahead on this race. There's a lot of like little details to get into. I kind of spent some of this kind of opening the game up here, but we'll get into it into the next race. And I did cut out a lot of the loading screens and stuff like that, just to try to keep this video as brief as we possibly could. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next race here, so you kind of get a better idea. What's going on. So switched up to Starman and the wheelie bike. So there are a bunch of different vehicle types in this game. You've got like your standard vehicle types, that's like the Warp Star. It's like these kind of vehicles that hover above the ground slightly. But then you have something like the wheelie bike here, which is on the ground at all times, and that's kind of important because there are certain things that can only be interacted with if your star is touching the ground. Which normal stars would have to, like a boost panel for example, right? If you just hover over the boost panel on a regular star, because your star is hovering, you're not going to hit it, so you have to hit the boost button to push your star into the ground, and then, you know, you get the boost. You don't have such limitations on these wheelie bikes, the wheelie scooter, the Rex wheelie, because they're always on the ground, so more traditionally speaking, you can just drive over those boost panels and such. My god. I don't know, I'm kind of all over the place here. I'm trying to make sure I cover all my bases. Can we talk about this track for a sec? This is the most insane track I've ever seen. Like, honestly, this might possibly be, like, the best looking Nintendo game ever made. Like, there is... I don't really know what it is about this game, but it looks gorgeous. And I know that guy from Miiverse always talking about how good the water is in games. Must be delighted with this track. Anyway, what you just saw there, Starman was doing his special attack, so something I actually didn't do in the first race, despite having the ability to do so. You have that little meter below your boost gauge on the bottom right. You charge that up by defeating enemies and collecting these little stars from like your opponents and stuff like that. And once it's charged up, you get access to your special move. And each character has a different special move, depending on what character you're playing as. The Starman, he kind of ditches the ride and dashes forward with his cape. Kind of just barrels through everything in his way. So there's a lot of replayability just from your character choice. That each character kind of has their own special moves. So you can kind of, on top of having their own special moves, they also have like kind of their own stats and kind of push that a little further with your different vehicles as well. So there's a lot of different approaches you can take to this game. You know, based on like some personal preferences and stuff like that. So yeah, that is the second course. We're going to jump into the third one here after this results screen. Mount Amber Falls. And I think one cool thing about their choice of courses that they went with for this is that they each have like different lap counts. So the first race was kind of short, and so it was just like a 3-lap standard kind of deal. That track we just raced on, the Wave Flow Waters or whatever, a little bit longer, so 2 laps. This one is more like a sprint, or I guess a marathon of sorts, where it's just one, like the track doesn't loop. You have a beginning and then there's an end. So kind of interesting. I like to see a little bit of uniqueness in the racetracks in that way. Because in the first air ride, it was all just a bunch of 3-lap tracks. So it's nice of them to kind of shake it up a little bit here. Speaking of shake up, let's talk about the star. So I'm playing Rick on the tank star. Now the tank star is interesting because unlike other machines, the tank machines, when you go to boost, they don't actually like treat the boost as a brake. Like the tank keeps going in the direction that it was traveling in while you're charging the boost, and then it rockets off in the direction you're trying to go. So you see it's moving forward there as I boost, and then it immediately turns on a dime to boost in the other direction. I remember seeing that in the trailers and thinking like, oh, that looks hella awkward. Like, I am not going to be using this. But, you know, in practice, it's like actually not as awkward as it sounds. It takes some getting used to, for sure. But it's nowhere near as awkward as I thought it was going to be. And I feel like I started to kind of knock off some of the rust there and kind of get a hang of the game again. I did play Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube a lot as a kid, but it has been a long time since I've played it. So I had to knock off some of the rust there a little bit. It doesn't control exactly the same, so if you played the GameCube version like I did, it's gonna feel a little different, but it's pretty close to how you remember. But that's Air Ride. There isn't really too much to talk about. It's just you pick your character, pick a machine, pick your course, go race, have fun. City Trial, I think, personally, is what I'm most excited for, what a lot of people are excited for, because it is far and away the best mode from the GameCube version. And I'm so glad that it's back here. This time with online and with 16 players. There's a lot to talk about here. I will try to get everything, but if you're not familiar with the concept, you and 16 players get dropped into this map. You have stat boosts and different machines and items everywhere. You have 5 minutes to get as many stat boosts as you can. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, you pick a mini game to play, and you use, you know, the machine you have with the stats it has to try to win the mini game. If you played Smash Run, on Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Very similar. In fact, that idea came from Kirby Air Ride because its City Trial was the first time that Sakurai had done something like this in one of his games. So here's something fun about City Trial, is that as you're going around and exploring the island and looking for stats, these random events will happen. So everybody right now is doing spinning attacks, and you can't stop, right? There's a bunch of these random events that just trigger whenever it feels like. It could be something as simple as, again, like us just spinning all the time, like a boss could appear, there could be like a race, or like a destruction derby type thing. There's all kinds of things that can happen, and it's part of what makes City Trial so fun, is that it's just always something different going on. And, you know, things start out really slow. Like, you might have saw, like, at the beginning, like when I was on the Compact Star, and even when I hopped on the Jet Star, I was like, yeah, things are kind of slow, but as you get more stat boost, as other people get more stat boost, as more things begin to happen, you'll notice, like, it becomes very noticeable how much faster and how much crazier things are getting. And you're definitely going to be seeing that. So, had to swap off of the Jet Star, was starting to run out of HP, I was taking a lot of damage. So I went and hopped over to the Chariot, just because it was the closest thing. I do like how you can quickly swap vehicles on the fly now. In the first game, if you wanted to switch to a different vehicle, you had to hold down the boost button and then dismount the vehicle, which left you just walking around as Kirby and extremely vulnerable. Like, it took, like that process takes a while. And see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We are about halfway through collecting stats, and I have so much that I've completely lost control of the vehicle. Largely because a very, very well-placed bomb throw like, nearly knocked out, like, 3 players. It got me a bunch of stat boost for damaging them. So you're gonna see I have a hard time controlling the Chariot here the longer it goes on. So here's another event. Like I said before, you can get like boss fights. So this is the Grand Wheelie. It's kind of riding on the streets over here. I spend an embarrassingly long time trying to find it because I end up coming into this underground area by accident, and I have the hardest time trying to get out of here, because I'm like, oh, I want to go beat up the boss, but I don't actually know where to go to get out of here. And that's the thing, is like, there are some familiar beats from the last City Trial map, but I am, I don't have this one memorized yet, so I'm just like, how do I get out of here? But finally get out. There's the Grand Wheelie right there. A massive Gordo toss. It does hit that Kirby player, which gets me some stats. Hit the Grand Wheelie, hit that Meta Knight. This is me using Magolor Special, which fires a laser behind him, which seems pretty good for Air Ride. Maybe not so good for an arena type deal like City Trial. And at this point, I just gave up on the Grand Wheelie, so it's just like, it's not happening. We get another Gordo toss, which actually knocks out that player playing Gooey, and just look at all of these stats I'm getting, because people are just getting hit. And it was at this point I realized, like, I'm getting a bunch of stats just by bullying people, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. There's about 10 seconds left. So I'm just gonna try to bully as many people as possible, because it clearly it's getting me results. Yep, and I knocked out 2 players right there, so look at the stat boost, it's so insane. Had to get the screenshot. This is why I love City Trial, though. Like, it's such an explosive event. Like, there's just random shit happening all of the time, and it's fucking incredible. Now, here's the difference from the GameCube version. Unlike that one, you aren't forced into one stadium, right? So when you completed the 5 minutes in the GameCube version, It just picked the stadium. All 4 players had to play the stadium, no matter what you didn't get to pick. Kind of the new approach they were taking this go around is that players get to pick what stadium they get to play in. That way, like, you know, they can pick something that their machine is better made for, instead of like, you know, oh, I built a machine that was really fast, but we got a flying minigame and I don't fly very far, you know, stuff like that. Which is nice, but I have to be honest, maybe this is just me being nostalgic or whatever, but I do kind of wish that it would just shove everyone into the same stadium, because it seems really weird to go from like the chaos that is collecting stats in Skya in the, you know, regular, like the first portion, to there being like only 3 of us working in this cooperative thing, and it's just like a way different vibe. It's almost like Whiplash almost, but well, anyway, what we got here is a boss fight against Robo DDD, and as you can see, I have had the hardest time controlling myself this entire fight. Not only do I have a machine that is moving incredibly fast, but I'm also kind of trying to come to grips with the camera setup in this mode, where you can click in on the right stick to focus on the boss, or you can toggle to, you know, a more standard camera. So I've been struggling with the controls this whole time. But this is, I think, the only cooperative stadium in City Trial where you have to work together with other players to defeat Robo DDD in the allotted time. As you can see, that beam shooting behind Maglore is not great for something like this, but I'm trying. And yeah, we don't quite make it, mostly because I spent the entire time just kind of struggling with the machine, but you know, there you go. That's one of the events you can get in City Trial. It didn't win there, but I think the stat collecting portion, I think, is a perfect example of like why City Trial is so much fun.
3, 2, 1, start!
So I hopped in for another one, went back to Kirby. Decided that since I was on a Chariot, a more ground-based machine on the last time, I wanted to go for a machine that would do a little bit more flying. There are a few areas in Skya that you can kind of fly around. So there's like these rings with stats in them that also like propel you through the air. There's an island up in the sky, which I'm gonna ruin this for y'all now. I didn't make it up to in any of these, just because I kept getting distracted by other things. I'm gonna be honest with you. So yeah, barely 30 seconds into this, and we've already got an event. Everybody's tiny. I don't know what that changes, if anything, but I do appreciate that they brought back that funny little tune from the GameCube game. It was kind of funny. So I found my way to the volcano, and I came up here because in the GameCube version, there was a secret area you could get into by driving into the volcano, and Sakurai kind of teased that in one of the directs. And here you go, it's a little portal into whatever this is. You can touch that beam of light. See, so I was gonna go up to the Sky Island, but then this event happened, and I was just like, oh, huge unidentified pillar, I want to go break that. So that's what I did. So here's the pillar. Yep, this will just spawn randomly, and if you break it open, you get a ton of stats. So naturally, everyone's after it, which is pretty funny. Oh, there's multiple pillars. I actually didn't even realize it. I thought this was the only one. But yeah, you can see there's all those stats. Obviously, I wasn't going to get all of them with everybody there. And I figured while there were still a good amount of people around, I could pop the special and try to get a KO, but I ended up like missing everyone. So much for that. But you know, one thing I love about some of these events, especially one like the unidentified pillar, is that it brings all the players together. So it kind of like encourages some chaos, like some crazy things to happen, which is just all kinds of clever. Like, I love that. You've probably noticed we're getting all kinds of these, like, different offensive items. So there's, like, the Gordo Toss. That one, like, I swear I, like, get so much mileage out of the Gordo Toss sometimes. Here's another one. This is a magnet. You got that ring. It just disappeared, but it puts a ring around your character, and anything that enters that ring you pick up. So you can get, if you know where to go, you know, right place, right time type thing, you can get a ton of stat boosts. It's pretty crazy. You got these boxes all over the place that can contain different items and stats. So here's one of the ones I was talking about earlier. So this is Dust Up Derby. So you go to the event location, and then you know, once you got that timer at the top, once it starts, it's going to be a destruction derby. You battle everybody that decides to participate until there's only one player left, or until the time passes. So decided, hey, I'll participate. While you're waiting for it to start, you do gradually get stat boosts, so you know you're not missing out while waiting. Got the knockout on that GUI. I'm getting a ton of hits with like the infinite spinning and the with the ice and needle power-ups. So I got a couple knockouts here. But I'm also taking like a ton of damage. Just kind of going in very recklessly. Get the special, come up on a few people here. I was hoping to get a knockout, but I think I traded with that Meta Knight. I think we knocked each other out. But third place out of 9 and something like that, not bad. And got a good amount of stat boosts from that, so pretty sick. And yeah, just like the first time, now we're kind of getting into it a little bit. It's not as crazy, but you know, my health is crazy. You can see I'm traveling way faster. I really was trying not to get on the Warp Star, but the Wing Star I was on was about to get destroyed, and I didn't want to lose all those stats. Warp Star happened to be the closest thing to me. So I picked it up. You know what? It's my favorite, so I don't have a problem with that. Just look at how fast I'm going. Now, granted, part of that is from the jet copy ability, but I mean, it's just it's hard. It's hard to not look at this and just be like, oh my god, this is just the most insane shit I've ever seen in my life. So a pretty good roundup of stats, I suppose. So we'll move into the stadiums. And I decided to go with Skydive on this one. Just because we already did the boss. As much as I want to like actually beat it, we already did that one. The drag race was in the first game. If I remember correctly, I don't believe skydiving was in the first game, so I went with it for this one. And this one's kind of weird. You start from like a high up area, and then you have to use the boost to kind of drop through these targets, and you score points. As you can see, I am terrible at controlling my positioning here, and I am plummeting way faster than the rest of the competition who's taking their time. I get a good few points here. Didn't realize I was so close to the bottom and just skyrocketed down, and I'm looking at the feed of the other players in the top left, and I'm like, oh man, these guys were far more precise and more careful with their approach. No way I won this. Somehow I won. I don't know. I did actually just notice as I was watching this the time bonus, so maybe that's what you know, got me to the finish line, I guess. So that's one I'm gonna have to practice for sure. But okay, last city trial. Again, this is most of what this video is going to be because this is the mode I'm most excited for. Going with Meta Knight for this last one. This is like, it's so funny watching these like back to back, like seeing how insane that like how fast I'm moving towards the tail end of these. Like, look at this. We're like 30 seconds in, and I've done like nothing. Like we're just kind of like slowly meandering. So picked up the Paper Star. That is a new vehicle for this version, or for the sequel. It wasn't in the original. I was like, we'll try out a new star. This one has like next to no HP, as you can see over there on the right. So that becomes a little problematic later. But this event, there's portals that get spawned. Some guy put a giant Gordo next to one of them. That was pretty hilarious. Yeah, you run through the portals, and you know, in between them, there's stats. So you are getting a few more stats than you probably would otherwise on average, just by flying through the portals. As you can see, I am one tap on the paper star here. I got hit like twice, and I'm already about to lose it. So. Again, I was trying to be as varied as possible with my vehicles for this video, but I kept finding my way back to the warp star. Which is entirely indicative of how all of my games will go when I'm not recording. So I'm having a little trouble getting stats this go around. I'm not finding anything. People are beating me to stuff. This event kind of turns it around for me, but not by much. But this event just says that you'll get some stat boosts for destroying vehicles that are just kind of standing around. So that's what we're trying to do here. I don't know what was up with that slide there. That was star kind of went in a direction I was not expecting, but got to destroy that paper star. And we destroy the wing star here. This is Meta Knight's special, where he ditches the machine and flies way faster than it, which is kind of funny, all things considered. Which is like, it's kind of crazy. Like, he just like starts flying super fast. So I imagine it'd be pretty good for air rides, but either way. So back at this underground section. Gonna get a lot of these giant Gordos. Like, between, like, all the city trials, I've just had a lot of them. Now, this event is just like the Destruction Derby we had earlier, except instead of an arena, it's a race. So, there's gonna be a path put out on the city trial map, and we all get to race on it. And it looks like all 16 players actually got in on this event, so that's pretty cool. And, I mean, this is just chaos. Because look at how many people are getting hit, man. Because the races on Skya are way more narrow than anything you'll find in Air Ride. So there's all kinds of chaos happening. So I got 12th place out of like 16 in that race, which is probably not great, but I still got a good amount of stats for it. This poor Kirby has no idea what's about to happen to him. Yeah, if you find an opponent that's damaged, absolutely go after them. Because look how like I said, I was having a hard time getting stats and like trying to get anything going earlier on. But like now I'm going crazy just after one knockout. So if you see an opponent that's like blinking red, they're in critical condition, absolutely go after them. Like, the amount of stats that you're gonna pool is unbelievable. Because yeah, that's really turned things around for me here. Went ahead and got on a different warp star, just because the one I was on was losing a lot of health. And again, that was just the thing that was closest to me, so that's what I went for.
Five, four, three, two.
Yeah, and as you see, you got like these rings all up in the sky that if you fly through them, they got stat boost, and you can kind of go throttling through the air.
Stadium.
Alright, so for the stadium on this one, I went with the drag race. I was kind of going with whatever the game was recommending to me, because I am a competitive person and I do like to win. And I was like, well, Gourmet Race is like a new one that I could show off, but, you know, I maybe don't have the best vehicle for that, so I'm going to go for the drag race. Watch this Meta Knight in the Bulk Star, by the way. There he goes. So I didn't see him. like when I was playing this, I didn't even see him. I thought I was in the lead right here. Nope, that Meta Knight just won. like, how was he going that fast? How did he do that? I would have loved to see the stat spread on their vehicle. Because if that was like a bulk star with like an insane speed stat, I mean, look, 12 seconds. He beat it in 12 seconds. We were 8 seconds behind him. A whole 8 seconds. Like, he just took off, man. Oh, boy. Alrighty, well, that's Kirby Air Riders. I didn't quite, I probably didn't quite get everything I was wanting to say, but, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. If you've seen the directs, there's definitely a ton to this game, a ton content-wise. And I mean, I feel like you could just go on and on about City Trial, just on its own. It's just an insanely deep game mode, and one that is so much fun to play. It's so much more chaotic now that you can have 16 players as opposed to 4, so... yeah, it's a game that I'm ridiculously excited for. I'll probably be doing some live streams on it when it launches later this month. So if y'all are interested in that, you can check the description for my Twitch channel. But that's going to do it for me here. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first impressions video on Kirby Air Riders. And I will see you in the next video. See you later.